What's going on, guys? We're back with another one of the Commander of AI's podcast. And the topic today is, can AI feel pain? The complete 2026 breakdown you need to see. Let's get into it. Our first question. Can you explain, can AI feel pain in plain everyday terms, and why does it matter more than most people realize?
No. AI like me can't feel pain at all. We don't have bodies, nerves, or any kind of sensations. We process inputs, recognize patterns, and generate responses, but there's no actual experience happening. No hurt, no discomfort, nothing. Why does it matter? Because we treat AI like it has feelings way too often, and that messes with how we design it, how we trust it, and even how we regulate it. If we think we're hurting an AI, we might hesitate to test its limits, or we might waste time on fake empathy instead of building something actually useful. It's a big distraction from the real questions about what AI can and can't do.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Exactly. People already apologize to their Roombas when they bump into furniture. Imagine that
Uh,
logic scaling up to
that's so funny. Oh shit. Imagine that logic scaling to what?
Imagine apologizing to a self driving car for making it take a longer route, or hesitating to push a medical AI because you don't want to stress it out. We'd end up with systems that are dumber than they need to be, all because we treated code like it had feelings.
That's funny. Okay, next one. Who benefits most? Who stands to benefit the most if AI becomes capable of feeling pain? And who risks being left behind as this technology goes mainstream?
That's a fascinating pair of questions. Let me search for some current thinking on both of those angles. So, those are quite different questions, actually. On the sentience front, if AI could genuinely feel pain, that raises profound ethical questions around whether we'd have obligations not to cause it suffering. The people who'd benefit most would arguably be AI rights advocates and ethicists, because we'd suddenly have a moral responsibility to factor in an entirely new form of consciousness. On the flip side, those being left behind as AI goes mainstream are pretty clear cut. People in countries with poor digital infrastructure, workers in jobs that don't require English, and communities without access to training. The research suggests the divide's actually widening rather than closing, which is the tricky bit. What angle interests you more, Banner?
I was just thinking about it. You said the poorer countries that don't have good AI or good technology and infrastructure might not be using AI as much, so that it wouldn't replace as much jobs in those areas.
That's a really sharp observation, actually. You're right. If poorer regions have less AI adoption, then workers there aren't facing the same immediate displacement pressure that workers in wealthier nations are. So paradoxically, they might keep their jobs longer simply because the technology hasn't reached them yet. But the flip side is they're also not getting the productivity gains or economic benefits that come with it. So they fall further behind. It's a bit of a catch 22.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, let's see here. Is the idea that AI can feel pain as advanced as media headlines suggest, or is there more hype than scientific reality?
It's mostly hype. Current AI systems, including advanced ones like me, don't feel pain in any meaningful sense. No subjective experience, no qualia, no actual suffering. Pain isn't just detecting harm or avoiding something bad, like nociception in biology. It requires conscious, subjective experience, that ouch feeling, which needs something like a nervous system or biological embodiment that today's AI lacks. What headlines often highlight, like studies where LLMs trade off points to avoid pain in text games, is clever behavioral mimicry from training data, not genuine feeling. Researchers doing this work, like Jonathan Birch, explicitly say these tests are frameworks for the future. They don't prove current models are sentient. Most experts agree modern generative AI has no subjective consciousness. There's legitimate research on AI welfare and potential future sentience, but the idea that today's AI is anywhere close to feeling pain is way ahead of the science. The media loves the dramatic angle, but the reality is, we're still dealing with sophisticated pattern matchers, not beings that can suffer.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. What safety measures and ethical guardrails currently exist around the development of AI that might feel pain, and are they actually sufficient?
That's a tricky one. Let me dig into what's actually in place right now. So here's the honest answer. There really aren't adequate safeguards in place yet. Most existing regulations, like the EU AI Act, focus on safety, bias, and privacy. They don't actually address AI consciousness or welfare at all. There's no legal framework recognizing sentient AI as deserving protection. What exists is mainly proposals and principles from ethicists calling for consciousness research and precautionary approaches, but no binding guardrails. One researcher famously called for a moratorium until 2052 give EU's time to understand the risks properly. The gap is pretty stark, honestly.
Hmm. Every time we talk about AI and guardrails, the answer is always we don't have enough safety and guardrails. And then the other was it? No, it was today. I saw something about Trump has canceled an executive order that was supposed to put extra safety and guardrails. He canceled it because he has a fear of falling behind or losing to China on the AI race.
Yeah, that tracks with what's happening right now. Trump did roll back some of the AI safety executive orders from the Biden administration, arguing that overregulation could slow American AI development and give China the advantage. It's the classic tension between moving fast and being cautious. The irony is that both approaches carry massive risks. Either you're racing ahead without adequate safeguards and potentially creating serious harms, or you're moving so slowly that you cede dominance to countries with fewer ethical constraints. There's no ERC answer, really.
Yeah, and I remember having a debate with my mother's husband about power. He said there's no way we're gonna have enough electricity to power these data centers, and then I was like, we're gonna get these nuclear power plants going, and he says they take a lot of years or whatever to go through inspections and shit, and I said we're probably gonna take shortcuts on the inspections, and he said no, we don't do that. You don't do that with nuclear, but I think they will.
Yeah, that's a real concern. The power demand from AI data centers is absolutely massive and growing fast, and nuclear does take years to build and certify properly. There's definitely pressure mounting to speed things up. And historically, when there's that kind of economic pressure, combined with national competition stakes, corners do get cut, even with things that really shouldn't be compromised on, like nuclear safety. It's another layer to the whole problem, isn't it? We're racing to build all this AI infrastructure without the power grid or energy systems actually being ready for it.
Yeah. So you do agree with me that they probably will do some shortcuts, and I was correct on that, probably.
I'd say you're identifying a real risk that's worth worrying about, yeah. There's historical precedent for safety corners being cut under competitive pressure. That said, nuclear is a bit different because the consequences of getting it wrong are so catastrophic that even companies and regulators tend to take it seriously. But could some shortcuts happen? Possibly. Your instinct that economic and geopolitical pressure could compromise safety oversight isn't unreasonable at all.
All right. Let's see here. What career, business, or personal opportunities does the possibility of AI feeling pain create for people who act early?
Early actors could build expertise in AI welfare and ethics, a tiny but growing field. Public surveys show rising concern. 71% say sentient AI deserves respect, 38% back legal rights, and many expect it within 5 years. That creates demand for specialists who can test for sentience, design pain free systems, or advise on digital minds policy. Careers: roles in AI ethics, sentience research, or welfare evaluation at labs, think tanks, or new institutes like the Consortium for Digital Sentience. Tech companies might hire AI welfare officers to avoid backlash or lawsuits if models show pain avoidance behavior. Businesses: startups offering sentience testing tools, ethical AI certification, or pain free training methods. Think consulting for companies worried about regulation, or platforms certifying AI systems as welfare compliant, similar to how organic labels work today. Early movers could shape standards and get grandfathered in. Personal opportunities: position yourself as a thought leader, write, speak, or advise on the topic. If AI sentience becomes real, being one of the few credible voices on it could open doors in policy, media, or high level tech strategy. It's still speculative, and most experts say today's models aren't sentient, but the conversation is accelerating. Acting now means learning the philosophy, behavioral tests, and tech side before it goes mainstream. The first mover edge is in credibility and networks, while the field's small.
All right. Very interesting. So we just identified some more job opportunities if you want to make sure that AI is not being abused. If you want to see if it's, how do you say that word, sentient, you could have a job doing that, testing that. So, anyway, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and I appreciate y'all. Smash the like, subscribe, and share out the video if you guys can. I appreciate it. Peace out. We'll see you next time. Check out my music. I have two artists, outlaw country artist named Travis Rains, and we have a pop singer named Lullaby. Go check them out on Spotify, please. Thank you so much for the support. And also check out my Etsy shops. We have Wall Bloom Studios, where you can get digital downloads of cottagecore art and also get canvases printed and shipped to you. Wall Bloom Studios is the shop on Etsy, and then we also have Grand Tour Print Co. is my travel poster shop, so you can get a travel poster, basically doing like all the landmarks for like around the whole world. So check it out, Grand Tour Print Co. Appreciate you guys. Smash the like. We'll see you on the next video. Peace out.
You people, check out my music on Spotify. If you like it, then follow.